This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, Spro, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. A couple weeks ago, we had the Elite Series Angler of the Year leader in Kyle Welcher on the show. I figured it'd only be fair to have the BPT AOY leader. Now he's got less of a climb than Welcher because there's only two derbies left in the BPT season. Both of them up north, kicking things off next week with Lake St. Clair, and that is none other than Ott DeFoe from Tennessee. And Ott is going to jump on. Now he's got to take care of some business, handle some business. This will be a multi-part interview. First part in the shop, getting ready for St. Clair. Second part in the car.
Yep.
Thanks for jumping on, Ott. I appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely, Matt. Glad to be on here. Yeah, second part will be in the car taking Lizzie to a friend for a play date today. So
okay, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wanted to get you on. You're leading the BPT Angler of the Year, and we actually had at least a 5-minute long pre-production meeting before this was on, which is a rarity for BTL. I'm not going to lie. And you hit me with a stat that I was unaware of. 3 second-place finishes in Angler of the Years.
Mm-hmm.
Twice on the BPT, once on the Elite Series.
Yeah.
I knew you had done it once, but 3. That's good. That's good. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. It's good. It's just shy of greatness. But it is good. Yeah. My second year, my rookie year on the Elite Series, I finished fourth, I think, and won Rookie of the Year. And then my second year, 2012, Brent Chapman won, and I came in second to him by about a dozen points, I believe. It was under 20. And then coming second to Jordan Lee on the BPT the year we had the 2020 year when we had kind of the abbreviated. And only had 5 tournaments. And Jordan won that year, and I came in second, and then came in second to Wheeler the following year in 21. Back-to-back seconds there.
All right, you've got a 28-point lead right now over Dakota Eber, and Matt Becker is in third, which, if you want to talk about a great showing for the invitational anglers that have moved up over the past couple years, just take a look at second and third in the Angler of the Year race here in Dakota Eber and Matt Becker. But how much is that on your mind heading into these last 2 events to get that AOY under your belt? I mean, it's got to be something that you want, Ott.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and I think my kids, especially Parker, he's like, he really wants me to win it because he's like, Dad, you've won a classic, you've won regular tournaments, he's like, you've never won the points, in anything, you never won AOY. So he is definitely aware of it and keeps me aware of it. But that's, and you look at those guys and Dakota, especially, I don't know Matt as well, and don't know Dakota great, but dude, he doesn't miss much when we go up north on smallmouth tournaments. I think you'd have to dig back a ways to find one he missed the top 10 in, whether that's Champlain or that's St. Clair or St. Lawrence or wherever. When you go up north for smallmouth, you just count on Dakota Eber being in the top 10, So looking at 28 points or whatever, I don't consider that any of a lead with 2 whole tournaments left, and 80 points up for grabs in each one. I think anything less than the top 10, Dakota for sure is going to pass me. He's going to make up ground in both tournaments on me because I just fully expect him to be in the top 5, to be quite honest.
Has it surprised you on how he just burst onto the scene on the BPT and what he's done? I mean, you were rookie of the year on the Elite Series, but I mean, you had been on the FLW Tour before. You've been doing this since you were what, 19? Was that your rookie year? 18, 19?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I started fishing Toyotas when I was 18, and then I think I was 21 the first year I fished the FLW Tour, and then and fished there for 4 years before I came to the Elite Series. But I mean, he has the thing with Dakota, and you learn it when you talk to him at all. And not that a lot of people don't do this, but I mean, when he got in, and you were telling me some of his stats, which are crazy.
It's insane.
I mean, he when he jumped in, dude. I mean, he jumped in head first. I mean, fishing, multiple divisions of Toyotas, along with the pro circuit and everything else at that point in time when he got started. So I mean, there was when I was at FLW, the most tournaments I ever fished in a year, and I only did this one. I fished all the FLW Tour, all of the FLW Series, a division and a half of Everstarts then, or Strand Series, whatever they were. So like 6 of those, a couple Forcewood Cup and Strand Series Championship, and 3 or 4 PAAs or something that year. I fished like 20, upper teens or 18, 19, 20, somewhere in that range, events that year, which was crazy. But that's what you need to do, and he's done that for multiple years, it seems. So that's you get a crash course. So yes, it looks quick over time, but your seasoning, you get seasoned pretty quick that way.
Were you doing all that like married with a kid too?
That was, yes. That one kid, yeah. We only had Abby at that point in time.
But still, I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the 2009 season. 2008, I fished it. 2007 was my first year on.
Uh-oh. We lost Ott. That means Ott got a call. I forgot to tell Ott to put, There you go. You're back. I forgot to tell you to put it in standby mode. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm looking at 2008 right here.
Yeah, so 2008 I fished a good many. 2009 was the year I fished so much stuff. And 2010 I actually pulled back just a little bit. I didn't fish any Toyotas, but I fished the Bass Opens that year, along with the FLW Tour. But 2009 was the year I fished anything I could get in. And that particular year, back then, we just had Abby, and we camped everywhere. So I would pull a camper, Jenny would pull the boat. We spent 8 weeks straight on the road up north, like between the Forcewood Cup in Pittsburgh and Champlain for Toyota, we spent 2 months in the Northeast, basically the whole summer. It was, it was a cool time.
Volunteer division of the BFL, Southeast division, 2 events 2 events in the Toyota Series Northern Division, the Toyota Series Championship, 4 events in the Pro Circuit Eastern Division, 6 events in the Pro Circuit, and the title. That was a year. Yeah,
and also fished. Of course, it's not on there. The PAA at that point in time, there were 3 or 4 of those that year. So yeah, I had 3 or 4 PAA tournaments on that too.
I remember that. You fished all of those.
Yeah.
Did you fish the one that Kennedy brought in, that fish that had the duck sticking out of its throat?
No, so that I fished some of the early ones. That was a couple of the later ones. Yeah, I did not fish that one. I remember hearing about it, but no, I did not fish that one.
Wow. Have you ever experienced burnout? You talk about all those number of events and all that. I mean, you've been doing this since, like I said, you were a teenager. Do you ever get to a point where you just kind of put it on cruise control, or at your level, do you always wish that you had another event the next week?
No, most of the time I'm glad when it's over, but when it's like the prep work, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, that part of it is, I guess that's the most boring part. But I don't fish so much anymore, like around home. Like used to. Back in that time, I would fish 2 to 4 days around home, just to go fishing or whatever. And I don't do that quite as much anymore for sure. But when it comes time when I get ready to go to the tournament, like I'm excited to go. You know, like I'm ready to get to the next tournament, ready to go again. But I think fishing a little less at home probably helps with that some. And two, the flip side of that is outside of the spring of the year, you know, I'm in February, March, April around here is pretty good fishing. But once you get to a little bit later in the year, it's like, unless you just hit something right, I mean, if I'm going to go, I'm going to go out here on the river behind the house because, like, on Sunday, Father's Day afternoon, we floated down about 5 miles, and between the 5 of us, we caught 100. You know, so it's if I'm going to go fun fishing, we'll go out here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but because most of the other places where we're going to go have a tournament are way better fishing than it is around here, so it's like I want to beat my head against the wall around here to go, or do I want to go really catch it when I go?
Like I said, I know you got to take your daughter somewhere, but can you give us a quick little glimpse? I see a bunch of Rapala baits in the background. Anything that you're maybe getting ready before we get on the road? You don't get an opportunity to be in the shop very often here. Okay.
Yeah,
that's so a lot of spinning poles.
Yeah, got the spinning poles ready. I've been working. You can see my aqua view set up right there.
How big is that? Is that a secret that these northern guys are doing and not saying anything about? I mean, I have not talked about it a lot on the show, but I feel like I've talked to some guys who let it slip, and then they're like, "Don't say anything about that."
No, it definitely is a player. You know, with the clear water that those places up there have, it's definitely more of a player in that part of the country than it is, generally speaking, in the South. My hat looks really crooked.
It does. It's a little wonky, a little crooked.
What's going on? Does
it feel weird on the? No, go the other way.
Weird is what's funny. I think maybe I'm just holding the phone.
No, it looks wonky. I noticed it. I thought, boy, that has to feel awkward on the head. There you go. That's a lot better right there.
And see, that feels really weird, but we're going to stay with that. But no, it definitely is more of a player up there, just given you know, the water visibility and that kind of stuff. But a crazy thing with this tournament coming up on St. Clair, so the Canadian bass season opens on Saturday. We practice Thursday, Friday. Okay, you cannot target bass in Canada until Saturday in the tournament. So any scouting we do in Canadian waters, we cannot have a rod out on the deck of the boat.
All camera scouting.
So I'm like, I mean, I always make sure that I've got that stuff, you know, ready to go. But this is going to be a tournament where it legitimately is going to be how you practice. I mean, imaging, you know, live scoping or cameras, you know, is going to be how you have to practice in Canada, you know. So, that's going to be a neat part of it. And I actually rigged me up a way to put me a hummingbird live right here at the console at the Railblazer. Well, that's what's in that bag right there.
You're sponsored by that company that does like the line spools and stuff. Don't you have like the line spool? Can you show that? Because I honestly am about to order one of those for my leader line and stuff. This is not planned. And then I know you got to get on the road. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll catch up with you in the car because I want to talk about some different techniques that are going on right now.
Yeah, so right there on the lid.
Yes, that's it right there.
Pop that deal up.
Hold on, let me go big screen on this real quick. Because this is an example of a professional angler that is sponsored by a company that I am aware of because of their sponsorship of the profession. Like, I'm serious. That's the only reason I know about this.
Yeah, no, that's good. So it's got a little tension knob right there. So when it's in travel mode, I lock that deal down pretty good so that the spool's good and tight. But then when you go to use it, just spin that back some, pull your line out, tie your leader on, you know, and you're good to go. It's got that little deal there that your line goes under.
So it traps the line to keep it from being all over the boat.
Yeah. From unwinding on itself and just, you know, and tighten that knob back up so that the spool doesn't spin. And I mean, those, I truly have not touched those, the 12-hour drive home from New York. And they rode like that, and didn't make a mess in the boat or anything. You tighten that knob up a little bit, put the line under the flap, and you're good.
And those are like fairly reasonable priced.
Yeah, they are.
What is it called again? If people want to look that up.
Yeah, that's another little
rail blazer.
Rail blazer. Right there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
The other thing is Matt Lee, sponsored by a company that's just getting into the fishing and boating industry too, and they're trying to do a good job of that. Here it is, right here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me pull this up, and then we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about minnow baits. I'm intrigued with the fact that the less a bait does, the more effective it seems to be now.
Become that way.
That's it right there, right? Rail Blazer.
There you go. That's the company. That's them.
And
right there you go, the line spooling station.
So that fit, which one is it? This one, the spooling station track mount, or the fixed or starport mount?
Either one. Like you can do that one. If you click on that one, it can so you see right, you can just hard mount it with those two bolt holes back there. But yeah, and then so all their stuff has ability to they have what's called a starport, and you can plug and play, put all different kinds of stuff in it. So
that's good stuff. All right, we're gonna take our first break. I gotta quit saying that too. I say that. That's good stuff. I got a message that someone was like, "Dude, you always say that's good stuff," and then you always say, "Am I right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I right?" They're like, "Dude, like I just seek validation the entire duration of the show." Apparently,
one thing I say a lot that JD made me aware of, because he edits all our videos, is I'll say whenever. Whenever's my thing. Yeah.
Better than whatever.
But whenever we come back from the first break, we'll talk about some more good stuff.
Sounds good. It is BTL on a Tuesday with Ott DeFoe. We'll be back in about 4 minutes right after this. See you.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 100, Strike King.
So I'm a big guy, a lunker, a two-sandwich eating kind of man. And on behalf of all of those bigger, I gotta say it once and for all, it's bad enough that the fish look smaller in our hands. The last thing we should have to worry about is getting quality outdoor clothing that fits. AVCO, any fish, any water.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ramtail craw, great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look. That matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Welcome back, BTL on a Tuesday with Ott DeFoe. I've been watching him do a backstage travel like across the yard through somewhere else inside. You're on an odyssey somewhere, Ott. Is that a picture of a cow?
It is. That's a Jenny really likes cow pictures. Where we live, she can't actually have any cows, so she has lots of.
Oh my gosh! The entire house is dairy cowed out.
Yeah, the laundry room is full of cows, and then
there's a puppy that is colored like, both puppies are colored like cows.
Yeah, they're both Australian shepherds. He's a blue merle and she's a black tri. That's what.
Okay. It occurred to me that I have been very influenced by marketing over. I was at Sam's yesterday and I wanted to take this. So this is a new energy drink. Another thing, not sponsored by nothing. It's called ZOA, whatever, but it's the Rocks energy drink. And I literally tried it because I knew that he was a big time bass fisherman because of his social media. And then I tried it and the stuff is good. And then also I'm on the coffee grinds now. Not, working on that. And that's another thing that I saw. Cinnamon roll flavored. So I'm going to end up with a line spooler, my drink of choice, and my coffee grinds, all because of social media marketing. I'm a sucker for that stuff.
You just get sucked in. That's pretty good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Before the break, I wanted to talk a little bit with you about key baits that have played a role this year. And I got on this deal yesterday with Joey Nania, who just won the Bassmaster Open on Lake Eufaula. He calls it a Ned Meekie. But you also look at how Gussie won the Classic, how Jacob Wheeler won the BPT on Gunnersville, and it's these minnow-style baits.
Yep.
Are you in on that? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's it's what we've for a long time in East Tennessee called top lining. Which was primarily a wintertime technique. Cold water deal is what it was primarily done around here, and didn't do it a lot the rest of the year. With forward-facing sonar, being able, I think we don't give fish enough credit to being able to find a bait. Like we want to throw a chatterbait or a square bill crankbait because we can feel it, and because we can feel it, we know the fish can feel it, kind of thing. Where
we're gonna lose Ott. He said that he might have just a little bit of issues with the service, and then he would get better because he is in East Tennessee. I
lost the Wi-Fi.
You back?
Okay.
You're back. All right.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
So we were talking about the feel, which is interesting because you said you can feel the baits, like you can feel a crankbait wiggle, you can feel a chatterbait vibrate.
Yeah. So if we can feel it, we know the fish can find it. I think is the way our mind works. It's like we can make sense of that the fish is going to be able to find our bait. But now with forward-facing sonar, we're able to know that our bait is within a foot of a fish. So, fish that you can target fish with a wacky worm in the middle of the lake where, I mean, we know how effective a wacky worm is on a fish that we can see and put it on its nose. Well, we can do that in the middle of the lake now, so things like a minnow bait, it's got a jig head on it. We're able to get it down there quick, put it right on a fish, and yet it be completely natural. We don't, on our side, we don't have to think, well, the fish isn't ever going to find it because it has no action, has no drawing power. We don't need them to find it because we're going to put it where they are.
Do you think this is going to make traditional offerings more obsolete as we continue to get further and further down this road and seeing how versatile these baits are in different conditions? I mean, dude, you have like your own line of Rapala crankbaits and all that. I mean, there's been tournaments that are now won on this forward-facing sonar with this minnow that should have been won cranking a DT6.
Right. Yeah. No, it definitely is going to change stuff. And those, I feel like those, traditional baits will get more conditionalized. I mean, when you've got some wind, when you've got some clouds, or you've got some current, or, you've got those kind of things, which are also things that, especially wind, it's going to make I mean, everybody would rather throw a crankbait in the wind than they would on a bright day.
What I think is interesting is, and I never realized it. I never realized it until this spring. I went out crappie fishing on a lake that had maybe an inch and a half of visibility. I mean, one of those lakes where when the bait hits the water, it's gone. And I was throwing a Demiki rig for big crappie, forward-facing sonar, and we caught a 20-pound limit of largemouth. And we'd be dropping down on them, big 12-foot poles, and you'd watch these, what we thought were big crappie, but largemouth orient, attack, and suck in these baits, and we're holding them motionless in zero visibility. And those suckers had absolutely no problem seeing it. Like, you can go to my Instagram and see it. It's the one we're holding up big crappie and big bass at the same time. They're pale. There's no color to them. But it was at that moment where I was like, man, these things can, what do you think they're doing? Are they seeing it odd? Are they sensing it? Are they feeling it with their lateral line?
I think they feel it. I do personally. And I'm going to assume that was a pretty calm day.
Very calm, glass calm.
Yeah, and I think on days like that, that's when they're just acutely aware of their their other senses, not having being able to use their lateral line and that kind of stuff. Where on the other days they rely a little more maybe on vision or that kind of stuff, but they're so acutely aware and can feel all the rest of that stuff so well.
Yeah. I want to talk to you real quick about your year before I let you go. Like I said, you're leading the Angler of the Year, 2 events left, finishes of, well, you had your worst finish of the season this past week or 2 weeks ago at Cayuga, which was a 23rd place, 3 or 4 top 10s in the others, 10th, 2nd, 7th, and 3rd. You're accustomed to getting on rolls. We kind of talked about that at the beginning of it. Talk a little bit about your year so far and kind of has there been like an overall theme of your year? Have you relied on one bait? Have you mixed it up? Is there something, that kind of has tied it together to get to the top?
Yeah, it's been, it's been just it really has just been a good run. I don't know any other way to put it other than stuff has happened when I needed it to, and it's our format, of course, it being 5 fish this year, but not only that, but the way the event shifts now is a little bit different, in some ways, the fact that, our knockout day and championship day are combined, and there's no win and make it through on your first round, so you if you're first or 20th, it's all the same. So, and I've had a lot of my qualifying rounds have been just kind of mediocre. I've made it in, I think I've made a couple in the top 10, but most of them has been 12th or 18th or something. And I've made it low enough in the qualifying a lot of the time where I'm like, man, I just need to go fishing on my knockout day, or I got just enough figured out to where it's like, okay, this is, I need to just lock in on this or whatever it may be. So it's been one of those kind of deals where I've adjusted throughout the event well, and then to be able to capitalize on that knockout day, because you can make the top 10 on that knockout day, or you can finish 40th, and there's obviously a really big difference, and where you're going to end up overall, between that.
I remember when you won your rookie of the year on bass, you said you caught one fish deeper than 8 feet, I think it was, and the rest came that. Are you still doing the shallow thing? Is that still something that even in this day and age of technology and dropping on fish and baits, you can still lead this thing fishing in the dirt?
Yeah, I mean, I have, which our schedule's lined up pretty good for it for the most part. Our even including Red Crest, stage 1 was down in Florida on Kissimmee. Obviously, that was going to be a shallow water deal. Then Red Crest was next, and Norman in the spring was a shallow water deal. Stage 2 was here at Douglas and Cherokee Lakes, and some guys caught them live scoping and stuff on Cherokee, especially where the knockout championship was. But I fished up the river, not as far as Keith was, but I fished up the river and and was able to make a top 10 up there. And then Murray was a shallow water deal, sight fishing and herring spawn and stuff. And then Gunnersville was really the first, offshore kind of deal. And I was able to, in the tournament, to find one really key school of fish that I caught 24 pounds off of that day and 24 pounds the next, and then didn't catch anything in the championship, so and then to this last one, to be able to have a solid finish up there at Cayuga. And again, it was a shallow water deal, it was a sight fishing thing. So just our schedule, truthfully, we've had one offshore event to date, now obviously that's about to change with these next two, but our schedule has certainly been a primarily shallow water deal.
St. Clair and Saginaw. What's the difference between a northern smallmouth and a Tennessee smallmouth, in your opinion?
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah, everything. It is 100%. They're up there, generally speaking, like you want nice conditions for smallmouth, sunny. Not a lot of wind, a little breeze is okay, and they're just different critters, for sure. I assume it's just, where they live, but yeah, they are definitely different from our southern smallmouth, and just the places you fish for them are different. St. Clair has never been a favorite of mine. Hopefully that'll change after this year, but it's been it's pretty big, pretty vast, and featureless. It doesn't have a lot of breaks or contours or anything like that. Those fish don't really relate to that. They just get out there and shift around as the current does and follow the bait. It's definitely its own beast.
And then you'll have to. So you're basically, you look at who's chasing you. You're gonna have to top 10 this St. Clair and Saginaw.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah. With Dakota especially is,
and Matt Becker. Becker's insanely good up there. Becker's really good up there too. He's a Pennsylvania guy. Yeah.
From Pennsylvania originally. So, I don't know him as well as I do Dakota, but yeah, they're both really, really good at those type of fisheries. So, to think that both of them could top 10 is a reality, but one of them top 10 in both of those is probably likely. So, if I give up anything other than the top 10, I'm going to be losing ground to him.
Dude, you got to get to know Becker. He's a good dude, man. He's a really, really good dude. He's got his stuff together. Like, there's some guys that are like, okay, we'll take like a Jeff Crete early 2000s. Like, you get in his truck and you're like, how did this guy even make it to the event? Like, you get in the boat and you know what I mean? And then there's other guys where you're like, dude, this guy, if you touch a drop shot hook, he's going to be like, who was in my tackle? Becker's got his stuff
Right,
together from the
that's funny.
sponsorship side, from the media side. Solid human being. I'm a really big fan of Matt Becker.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll definitely have to get to know him.
So,
Yeah.
all right, dude. I will let you go. Thank you for jumping on, and congratulations on. Well, I guess it's kind of another average year for you because you always seem to be up at the top, man.
It's definitely been a good one. This is, for this last finish of a 23rd to be my worst of the year. No, it's definitely been a good year. Since the streak is over, I could, not that I believe in jinx or anything like that, but I had, we'd had we'd had 4 Bass Pro Tours and Red Crest. So I'd had 5 events and I had top 10 my first 5 events of the year. I've never done that before. I've started with 2, I think is the most I've ever started the year with in top 10. So
yeah, because you were 10th there.
happy.
Yeah, you were 10th at Red Crest.
Mm-hmm.
5 in a row. Remember that year Skeet had where it was like 7 top 10s or something? It was absolutely insane. And then I don't think he won Angler of the Year that year. I think that was the deal where he went to the Alabama River and Kevin beat him, and he went to his spot on day 1 and it was loaded with cows.
Yeah.
I remember covering that. He was throwing a gunfish and there were literally cows up to their neck on the entire stretch. Some farmers' cows were in the river where he wanted to fish.
Well, I knew that Kevin won, but I didn't realize that he got hosed by cows. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
part.
no, he was throwing a gunfish around cows and still caught a couple. That's the crazy thing, because I was following him. I was covering him for Bass Zone. I've got pictures of him. Wow. It's like him fishing like a topwater and cows looking at him like, what are you doing?
He might should have been flipping in the shade of him. Like, it could have just hunkered
the udder
down,
pattern. The udder pattern.
It might have worked.
All right, Ott. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Good luck. See ya.
See you, buddy. Bye.
All right. That is Ott DeFoe. Good dude. Very talented. Like I said, he's been doing this a long time with a lot of off the water responsibilities. Like, it's hard enough to do this. Try to do it on the water without, families, young kids, doing all this. And Ott is one of those guys who's been able to juggle it really effectively and really makes it look easy. So, all right, we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, break down what's going on the rest of the week and dive into some more statistics. It's BTL on a Tuesday, live from Shawnee, Oklahoma. We'll be back right after this.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, you just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly. All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at ShorelineBoatandRV.com. Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves a house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
All right, welcome back, BTL on a Tuesday. Big shout out to Ott DeFoe for taking the time and opportunity to talk to us. All right, we got a lot of stuff going on in the world of professional bass fishing. Cayuga was a week and a half ago, and obviously eye-popping numbers there. A lot of mid-20s, top 20s bags. But one of the big things that came out about it, and there's other guys that have talked about it, is the catching the same fish twice. Now they have the rule that when you're visibly bed fishing, I've talked to a couple of BPT anglers about this, and I'll make a couple short comments on it, having literally covered every single tournament that's taken place since 2008. Every once in a while, you come across something that's new, that's novel, that may not break the rules. It may not go with the spirit of the rules, but it's not illegal. And I think that's why, like, you hear about all the Roland Martin rules and things like that, but until it becomes an issue, you don't know that it's an issue, so you don't have a rule against that issue. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just what it is. It's how the rule book develops. It's why the rule book for the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NHL or anything is, there's always additions. I remember like the Avery rule, like with what he was doing when he started facing Marty Brodeur, and there's just all sorts of crazy things that come up. And I think that what we saw at Cayuga was something that had not really been thought of, and is such a niche application where you have smallmouth that are on beds that are easily accessible and targetable, and you can catch that fish while you're looking at it. That fish goes back to the bed, and then you can back off to where you can't see it, and then you can proceed to catch that fish again. Now, you're not breaking any rule by doing that, because you're not sight fishing for that fish, which the rules say that you can only sight fish for a fish one time each day. So I think that just brought up, if you're going to take the spirit of the rule, you can take two different camps here. You could take hey, that's not what the spirit of the rule is. They're just saying you can't just catch the same fish twice in a day. Or you could say, hey, it says I'm not looking at it. This is 100% legal by the book, what I was doing. Do I expect there to be some sort of rule change going forward? Yes. Is this something that is probably only going to play once every couple years, once every 3-4 years, whenever they have a smallmouth slugfest, when those smallmouths are still on the beds, because they're easier to catch 2, 3, 4 times over the course of the day? They're easier to blind fish. Yes. So I look at it. I don't look at it as, oh, these guys were trying to get away with one or pull one over or cheat. I just look at it as the progression of the sport, and something came up in this tournament that I'm confident MLF will address moving forward, going into the next tournament. And guys are trying to catch as much as they can. And as far as like removing of hooks and all, and how that's done, listen, legal, not legal, whatever, you got to lay your head on the pillow at night and know that as a competitor at the top level of the sport, representing one of 104 on the Elite Series and 80 on the BPT, that every single thing that you do is scrutinized, looked at, in most cases recorded. You have to put your head on the pillow at night and know that everything you did was above board, legal, and that you could be proud of your actions day in and day out on the water. And that's all that comes down to. I mean, you know, if what you did was wrong or what you did was right, regardless of what the tournament rules say. So, like I said, it's potatoes there as far as being able to say it. I do want to say I visited, I always talk about Lucky Lure in OKC, great local tackle shop. If you're in the OKC area, they opened one up in Tulsa. Tulsa Tackle and Outdoors. It's a couple hours away from Lucky Lure. Stop by. Great guys up there at Tulsa. Great selection. A lot of JDM baits up there. I dropped way too much money before the open there. And then also for all your normal stuff, if you need stuff overnight and stuff, don't forget about Omnia. But like I said, when I talked to Omnia, I said, dude, I got to support the local guys. So Tulsa Tackle and Outdoors, great local spot up in Tulsa that I didn't even mention that on the show last week, but I stopped there before the event. I am working with Ben to get Ben on. I think Ben's maybe on Baby Watch. So we're going to try to get Ben on to talk a little bit about his Eufaula Open, where he caught the biggest bass of the tournament, smashed him again, finished in the top 20 and moved back into contention to qualify for the Elite Series. So good on him. We got 4 left as we head up north. So we will be back with a new live show tomorrow, working on a pretty cool guest for that show. And then Thursday, live with the man, Frank Scalish, day 4, number 118. All right, big shout out to Ott DeFoe, current BPT Angler of the Year leader. That's all we got for today. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. See ya.